Welcome to Salina A&E. My name is David Hawksworth, and today I'm joined by Anna Pauscher-Morowitz, who's the Operations and Development Manager for Salina Arts and Humanities. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Spring is upon us. That means warmer weather, flowers in bloom, and of course the Salina Spring Poetry Series.
Yeah, so April is National Poetry Month. And for the 39th year, we have celebrated National Poetry Month with a series of poets who read in Salina once a week throughout the whole month. And so this year, we're really excited to welcome 4 new poets, well, relatively new poets. One of them is returning. Tracy Brimhall is the new Kansas Poet Laureate. And our series has a long history of working with Kansas Poet Laureates, also National Poet Laureates. And so, you know, with her new laureateship, we were excited to bring her back. But we have her along with 3 other poets from really all over the country that are going to be reading here in Salina.
Okay, yeah, and I think they all have Kansas connections in one way or another.
Yes, they do this year. Yeah, it doesn't always happen that way, but this year they all are connected to Kansas. Interestingly enough, last year for the first time, we started working with the former poet laureate, Huáscar Medina. And so he curated the series last year. And then he also curated it again this year. And so he selected these poets. He has the relationships with them and told them that Salina is a great place to come and read. And the series also has, you know, the longstanding history of incredible poets being a part of it. And so they were welcoming them to Salina and welcoming them to the series.
Well, we're sure lucky to have a guy like Huáscar who is such a noted poet and is able to bring all these great people in.
Right. And actually, for 2024, we're already planning the next series before this one starts. Tracy Brimhall will be curating the next series.
Okay.
And so we're hoping to continue a relationship with the Kansas Poet Laureates in inviting poets that are on their radar or in their circles to come and read in Salina.
Okay. So when does this take place?
So it all kicks off on April 4th. And we'll be at Astra Books and Coffee House this year. And 7 p.m. Tuesdays in April. So April 4th is the first reading, and then we'll kind of go through Tuesdays after that. So we start with Tracy, and then Gary Jackson is next. He is from Topeka. He lives in, Charleston, South Carolina. Yeah, he's working at a college there. And his work is really interesting. It focuses a lot on comics, graphic novels, and also Afrofuturism. So he has some really interesting perspectives that I'm excited to experience with everybody here in Salina.
Yeah.
And then the following Tuesday is Miguel M. Morales. Miguel is a farm worker, has a history of working with immigrants who are also farm workers and also part of the LGBTQ plus community. And so his work is focused a lot around those topics and also organizing individuals to have voices in all sorts of different settings around those topics as well. And then finally, the last Tuesday in April is Sherry Purpose Hall. And she is a spoken word poet, national award-winning spoken word poet. I've seen her perform. It's breathtaking, literally. You know, she's a very powerful performer. I think our audiences are going to be blown away.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So Tuesday nights in April, make sure you mark that on your calendar at Astra. And they have a new location this year.
Yes, their new location. They're a couple doors down from where they were. It's a beautiful facility. They got the same vibe and the same atmosphere. It's really cool seeing how they were able to lift it and move it.
Yeah.
And Ad Astra is also working on a special drink menu for the event. You'll be able to try something new as you enjoy the reading as well.
Okay, that's at 135 North Santa Fe.
Yes, 135 North Santa Fe.
So just a couple of doors south from where they used to be.
Yeah. Go check it out before the reading and then come back every Tuesday in April.
All right. So this has been a project of Arts and Humanities for quite a few years now.
It has. So it started with us in the 80s with Patricia Trexler. And so she was an artist in residence. And the way I understand it is Martha Ray, the director of Arts and Humanities at the time, asked her to do something for National Poetry Month. And so Patricia put together a poetry reading series that has since developed into the Salina Spring Poetry Series. And so it's gone through, as anything would for nearly 40 years. There's been some shifts and changes, but what has remained is respect for the art of poetry, getting a chance to experience poets from all sorts of perspectives and genres, and also inviting people to our community who might have never considered Salina a place that embraces poetry the way that we do. And so, and we're grateful for partners or curators in the past, like Patricia herself. Ruth Moritz also was a curator of the series in the past. The Salina Public Library and their staff did it for a handful of years also. And then we took it back over during the pandemic because we just knew how important the series really is, and we couldn't let it stop. So we're carrying it forward now with the help of our Kansas Poet Laureates in making the selections of the poets.
Yeah, and poetry really is kind of an art that sort of flies under the radar in a lot of ways.
I think it does. Yeah, I think we experience it in school. As children and students, and sometimes those experiences aren't very fun for everybody, and so sometimes I think, especially as adults, we write off poetry. But the beautiful thing that I've personally discovered about poetry is that it's an art form that has no rules. It's you can do literally anything. It doesn't have to rhyme. The rhythm doesn't have to make sense to you. It's a really free-form way of personal expression. And it's an incredible way to get to know other people as well. When poets like these come to town and bare their soul in front of us in a room where you could hear a pin drop, and all you have is their words and the environment, the people around us, it can be a really transformational experience. And so I encourage anybody, whether or not, I think people who love poetry obviously are going to be there, but if you are somebody that doesn't regularly participate in poetry readings or reading poetry yourselves, I encourage you to take a little step out of your comfort zone and see what this is about. I think you may be surprised. And the readings themselves too are pretty quick. It's about 45 minutes, and then we do a Q&A afterwards. So just try it out if it's something that you're not used to.
Yeah. I think everybody's familiar with poets like Emily Dickinson, Robert Frost, and that kind of thing, but some of the newer poets.
These are contemporary living poets, and they are creating amazing work that is real to our everyday right now.
And I think when poets or any artist does a recital of their own work, it really brings a perspective or an angle that maybe another performer wouldn't be able to handle or do.
And it's so different than reading the poetry. If I were to, and I've read every single one of these poets, some of their books, or printed works, and I read it and I have my own perspective, my own view on it. But when you hear it come from them, you hear it straight from the mouth of the author, the creator, that really, they deliver it in a way that you'll never experience another time. And if it's a poet that you've seen before and you hear them read multiple times, you'll see how that delivery can change per reading as well.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's recap. Tuesdays in April.
Yep.
At Astra Books and Coffee House.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. At Astra is at 135 North Santa Fe. And we have 4 pretty good, incredible poets coming, including the Kansas Poet Laureate. Curated by a former Kansas Poet Laureate.
Exactly.
So
thank you, Oscar.
Yeah. So what's not to love about this?
Yeah, please join us. It'll be a fantastic series.
Okay. Well, Anna, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.
And we'll see you next time on Salina A&E.